The afternoon sun streamed through the massive glass windows of Riverside Shopping Center, creating patches of warm light on the polished marble floor. It was a Saturday, and the mall was packed with families enjoying their weekend. In the center of the main atrium, surrounded by designer stores and expensive boutiques, sat something that made people stop and stare. A beautiful white grand piano gleaming under the spotlights, positioned there as part of some luxury brand's display. 12-year-old Lily Martinez stood at the edge of the crowd, her eyes fixed on the instrument like it was the most precious thing in the world. She had been walking with her mom through the mall when the piano caught her attention. Her mom had wandered into a nearby store to look at something on sale, telling Lily to wait outside. But Lily couldn't just wait. The piano was calling to her. She wore faded jeans with a small patch on one knee, sneakers that had seen better days, and a simple purple hoodie that used to be her older sister's. Her dark hair was pulled back in a ponytail that had gotten a bit messy throughout the day. Nothing about her appearance suggested she belonged near such an expensive instrument. And people noticed a large sign stood next to the piano. "Display only, please do not touch." But Lily barely saw it. She took a small step forward, then another. Her heart was pounding so hard she could hear it in her ears. It had been so long, so very long since she had been this close to a real piano. "Hey, kid." A security guard's voice cut through her thoughts. He was a big man with a stern face wearing the mall's blue uniform.
"Can't you read?"
"No touching." Lily froze, her cheeks turning red. A few shoppers turned to look. She wanted to explain, to tell him that she wasn't going to damage anything, that she just wanted to feel the keys again. But the words stuck in her throat. "Some people just don't understand boundaries," a woman's voice said loudly from nearby. The woman was dressed in an expensive-looking cream-colored suit, carrying shopping bags from stores Lily had never been inside. She was talking to her friend, but speaking loud enough for everyone around to hear. "I mean, look at her. Does she look like she knows anything about a piano like that?" Her friend laughed, a sharp sound that made Lily's stomach hurt. "Probably thinks it's a toy or something." More people were staring now. Lily could feel their eyes on her, judging, assuming. A teenage boy pulled out his phone, angling it toward her like he was about to record something funny. His girlfriend giggled beside him. The brand representative, a young man in a sharp black suit with slicked back hair, hurried over from where he had been talking to customers. His expression was one of clear annoyance. "Miss, please step away from the display. This is a very expensive instrument. It's not for public use." Lily's hands trembled at her sides. She should walk away. She knew she should. But her feet wouldn't move. She stared at those keys, black and white, perfectly aligned. In her mind, she could hear music. Beautiful, complex, flowing music that she had played 1,000 times before. Just never on a real piano. Not anymore. Is there a problem here? Another shopper had stopped, an older man with glasses. He looked at Lily with that same expression, that look that said she didn't belong. The security guard moved closer, reaching out like he was about to take her arm and escort her away. "Come on now, move along. You're blocking the display." Something inside Lily shifted. Maybe it was the way they were all looking at her. Maybe it was the laughter from those teenagers still holding their phones up. Maybe it was the memory of her father's voice from years ago, telling her that music wasn't about what you wore or where you came from. It was about what you felt, what you could create. Or maybe it was simply that she couldn't stand being this close to a piano and not play. Not when music was the one thing that made sense in her world anymore. Before anyone could stop her, Lily stepped forward and sat down on the piano bench. The security guard's hand was reaching for her shoulder. The brand representative opened his mouth to protest. The woman in the cream suit made a shocked sound. But Lily wasn't paying attention to any of them anymore. She looked down at the keys. Real keys. Not the paper ones she had drawn and redrawn dozens of times. Not the silent practice on her desk at school when she was supposed to be doing math. Not the imaginary piano she played in her mind every single night before falling asleep. Real keys. Her hands found their position. Muscle memory from years of training took over. Her fingers curved naturally, hovering over the keys. The mall noise around her seemed to fade away. The whispers, the giggles, the disapproving comments, all of it became distant, like someone had turned down the volume on the world. "Oh, this is going to be good," the teenage boy muttered, his phone camera definitely recording now. "Watch her try to play." The brand representative had his hand out, about to pull her away from the bench. "Miss, I'm going to have to ask you to," but he never finished his sentence. Lily's fingers touched the keys, and in that moment, something magical happened. Not magical in a fairy tale way, but magical in the way that truth can be magical. In the way that years of dedication, of practicing on paper, of never giving up on a dream even when everything else falls apart, can create something that stops the world. The first notes rang out clear and pure. Not tentative. Not fumbling. Clear and pure and absolutely perfect. The security guard's hand froze in midair, inches from Lily's shoulder. The brand representative's mouth hung open, his objection dying on his lips. The woman in the cream suit stopped mid-step, her shopping bags hanging forgotten from her arms. The piece Lily had chosen wasn't simple. It wasn't Twinkle Twinkle Little Star or Mary Had a Little Lamb. It was Chopin, Nocturne in E-flat major, one of the most beautiful, emotionally complex pieces in classical piano repertoire. The kind of piece that takes years to master. The kind of piece that even experienced pianists treat with respect and caution. And this 12-year-old girl in worn-out sneakers and a faded hoodie was playing it like she had been born to do exactly this. Her fingers moved across the keys with a confidence that seemed impossible. The notes flowed together, creating melodies that rose and fell like gentle waves. There was something in the way she played that went beyond just hitting the right keys at the right time. There was feeling. Real, deep, honest feeling that you could hear in every single note. The crowd that had been ready to mock, ready to laugh, ready to record her embarrassment for social media, stood completely still. More people were gathering now, drawn by the music. A mother pushing a stroller stopped. A group of teenage girls paused their conversation. An elderly couple turned from the store window they had been looking at. The music filled the entire atrium. It bounced off the high ceilings and the marble floors. It wove between the designer stores and the food court. It was impossible to ignore, impossible to dismiss. And Lily, with her eyes closed now, played on. She was somewhere else entirely. Somewhere where there were no judgmental stares or mocking laughs. Somewhere where it was just her and the music and nothing else mattered. Her body swayed slightly with the rhythm, her shoulders rising and falling with the emotional peaks and valleys of the piece. The teenage boy lowered his phone slowly. His expression transformed from mockery to wonder. The woman in the cream suit had tears forming in the corners of her eyes, though she didn't seem to realize it yet. The security guard took a step back, then another, his stern face softening into something like amazement. Because this wasn't just good playing. This was extraordinary. This was the kind of playing that made you forget about shopping lists and dinner plans and everything else happening in your life. This was the kind of playing that reminded you why music exists at all, and it was coming from the most unexpected person in the most unexpected place, from a girl they had all judged before she even touched the keys. The music swelled through them all like a living thing. Each note seemed to carry its own story, its own emotion. Lily's hands danced across the keys with a grace that seemed almost impossible for someone her age. The difficult passages that made even professional pianists nervous flowed from her fingers like water. People who had been walking past now stopped completely. A businessman who had been rushing to make it to the parking lot before his meter expired found himself frozen, briefcase in hand, just listening. A group of college students on their way to the movie theater sat down on a nearby bench, forgetting all about their showtime. Even the store employees came out from behind their counters, drawn by something they couldn't quite name but couldn't ignore. The piece reached one of its most technically demanding sections. Rapid runs up and down the keyboard, notes that needed to be played with perfect timing and perfect touch. Too hard and the music would sound harsh. Too soft and the notes would disappear. It required years of practice to get it right. Lily played it flawlessly. The brand representative, who had been so annoyed just moments ago, slowly lowered his outstretched hand. He had worked with this piano for weeks, watching skilled musicians come and test it, playing their careful songs. But none of them had made the instrument sing like this. None of them had drawn out such pure, clear sound from those strings. He found himself wondering who this girl was, where she had learned to play, why she was dressed so simply if she had this kind of talent. In his experience, young pianists at this level came from wealthy families who could afford the best teachers, the best instruments, the best everything. They wore nice clothes to their recitals and had parents who hovered nearby with proud smiles. But this girl had walked up alone, wearing clothes that had clearly been worn many times before. There was no proud parent standing nearby with a camera, no expensive bag carrying sheet music, nothing that suggested she was anything other than just another kid at the mall on a Saturday afternoon. The music shifted into a softer section, the kind that required complete control, where every note needed to be played with exact precision. It was almost like a whisper, intimate and personal. You could have heard a pin drop in that crowded mall. Everyone was holding their breath, afraid to make a sound that might disturb what they were hearing. The woman in the cream suit, who had made such cruel comments just minutes earlier, felt something twist in her chest. Shame, hot and uncomfortable, washed over her. She had judged this child based on nothing but appearance. She had laughed at her, had assumed she was ignorant, careless, someone who didn't deserve to be near something beautiful. But this girl was creating beauty. Real beauty. The kind that made your throat tight and your eyes sting. The kind that reminded you of things you had forgotten about, dreams you used to have, feelings you used to feel before life got complicated and busy. A tear rolled down the woman's cheek. She wiped it away quickly, embarrassed, but then another followed. She wasn't the only one. The elderly man with glasses had pulled out a handkerchief. Several people in the growing crowd were blinking rapidly, trying to compose themselves. There was something about the way Lily played that went beyond technical skill. Yes, her fingers were hitting exactly the right keys at exactly the right time. Yes, her control was impressive. But there was something else, something deeper. She played with longing, with sadness, with hope, like she was pouring her entire heart into every single note. Like this piano wasn't just an instrument, but a friend she had been separated from and was finally reunited with. Because that's exactly what it was. The music built toward its emotional climax. The notes grew stronger, more insistent, filled with passion and intensity. Lily's whole body moved with the music now. Her shoulders, her head, even her breathing seemed synchronized with what her fingers were creating. She was completely lost in it, completely transported. The teenage boy who had pulled out his phone to record something funny realized his hands were shaking slightly. The video he was capturing wasn't what he had expected. It wasn't embarrassing or mockable. It was incredible. He glanced at his girlfriend, who had stopped giggling entirely, and was staring at Lily with an expression of pure awe. The security guard, a man who had worked at this mall for 15 years and had seen just about everything, felt goosebumps rise on his arms. He had escorted people away from this piano display at least a dozen times in the past week. Kids who banged on the keys, adults who wanted to take selfies with it, people who saw expensive things and wanted to touch them just because. But this was different. This girl wasn't treating the piano like a toy or a photo opportunity. She was treating it like what it was meant to be. An instrument, a tool for creating something meaningful. He made a decision. When she finished, he wasn't going to escort her away. He didn't care what the rules said. Some rules were meant to be broken. The music began its descent toward the ending. The notes became softer again, gentler, like the piece was slowly letting go of something. There was a bittersweet quality to it now, beautiful but tinged with sadness, the kind of sadness that comes with knowing something wonderful is about to end. Lily's fingers moved more slowly, more deliberately. Each note was given its full value, allowed to sing out and fade naturally before the next one began. The crowded mall had become like a concert hall. Everyone stood perfectly still, perfectly quiet, giving this unexpected performance the respect it deserved. And then, after what felt like both seconds and hours, Lily played the final note. It hung in the air, pure and clear, before slowly fading away into silence. For a moment, nobody moved. Nobody breathed. The silence after such beautiful music felt sacred somehow, like something that shouldn't be disturbed too quickly. Then someone started clapping. One person, then two, then suddenly everyone. The applause erupted through the mall like thunder. People weren't just clapping politely like they might at a school recital. They were clapping enthusiastically, passionately, the way people clap when they've witnessed something truly special. Lily opened her eyes slowly, like someone waking from a deep dream. The sound of applause seemed to confuse her at first. She blinked, looking around at the crowd that had gathered. There had to be at least 100 people now, maybe more, all of them looking at her, all of them clapping, her cheeks flushed red. She hadn't realized so many people were watching. When she played, everything else disappeared. It was just her and the music. She had forgotten about the security guard, the rude woman, the teenagers with their phones. She had forgotten she was in a mall at all. She started to stand up, uncertain what to do. But then the woman in the cream suit pushed through the crowd, practically running toward her. Lily instinctively took a step back, expecting more harsh words. But instead, the woman's face was streaked with tears, her expensive makeup running slightly. "I'm so sorry," the woman said, her voice breaking. "Oh, sweetheart, I'm so sorry. I said terrible things. I judged you. I was cruel and ignorant, and I'm so sorry." She reached out like she wanted to hug Lily, but stopped herself, unsure if that would be welcome. Her shopping bags had fallen to the floor, forgotten. Her friend stood a few feet back, looking equally ashamed. Lily didn't know what to say. She had never seen an adult apologize like this before, so openly and emotionally. "It's okay," she managed to whisper, though it had definitely not felt okay just minutes ago when those comments had made her stomach hurt. "No, it's not okay," the woman insisted, wiping at her tears. "What you just did, what you just played, where did you learn? How long have you been playing?" Before Lily could answer, more people pressed forward. The businessman wanted to shake her hand. The college students were calling out compliments. The elderly man with the handkerchief was telling anyone who would listen that in all his years, he had never heard Chopin played with such feeling. The brand representative stood to the side, his phone pressed to his ear, speaking rapidly to someone. His earlier annoyance had completely vanished, replaced by excitement. This was incredible publicity for his brand, a viral moment in the making. But even he seemed genuinely moved by what he had witnessed, not just thinking about marketing. The security guard had moved to help control the crowd, making sure people didn't push too close to Lily, who was starting to look overwhelmed. "Give her some space, folks. Back up a bit. Where are your parents?" someone called out. "They must be so proud." Lily looked around frantically, suddenly remembering her mom. Where was she? She'd been gone for a while now, probably still browsing in that store, completely unaware that anything had happened. And that's when she heard it, a voice cutting through all the others, filled with shock and emotion. "Lily, Lily!" Her mother pushed through the crowd, her face pale, her hands shaking. She had heard the music from inside the store, had recognized the piece immediately, but she had told herself it couldn't be Lily. It couldn't be. Not here, not now, not after everything, but it was. Rosa Martinez reached her daughter and pulled her into a tight hug. Her whole body was shaking. Lily could feel tears soaking into her hoodie from where her mother's face pressed against her shoulder. For a moment, they just stood there like that, mother and daughter, while the crowd of strangers looked on with curiosity and confusion. "Mom," Lily whispered. "Mom, I'm sorry. I know I wasn't supposed to touch it, but I just—" "Shh," Rosa pulled back, holding Lily's face in her hands. Her own face was a mixture of pride and pain, joy and sorrow all tangled together. "You have nothing to be sorry for, Mija. Nothing at all." The woman in the cream suit stepped forward hesitantly. "Excuse me, are you her mother?" Rosa turned, still keeping one arm around Lily protectively. She nodded. "Your daughter." The woman's voice cracked slightly. "Your daughter is extraordinary. I've never heard anything like that in my life. She must have the best teachers, the best training. How long has she been studying?" Rosa's expression shifted into something complicated. She looked down at Lily, then back at the crowd of expectant faces. The brand representative had moved closer too, along with the businessman, the college students, and dozens of others. They all wanted to know, how did this girl, dressed so simply, play like that? "Maybe we should talk somewhere less crowded," the security guard suggested, noticing how overwhelmed both mother and daughter looked. He gestured toward a seating area near one of the fountains, but a young woman pushed forward before they could move. She had a press badge clipped to her jacket and a phone in her hand that she had clearly been using to record. "I'm Rita Chen with the City News blog. I was here shopping when I heard the music. That was incredible. Can I ask you a few questions?" "I don't think now is the time," the security guard started to say, but Rosa gently touched his arm. "It's all right," she said quietly. Then Lou. "There to the crowd, I'll tell you. I'll tell you about my daughter. But please, give us a little room to breathe." People shuffled back slightly, creating a small circle of space. The mall manager had appeared now too, looking flustered and uncertain how to handle this situation. This had never happened before. The piano display was supposed to attract attention to the stores, not create a scene, but he could see the looks on people's faces. This wasn't a bad scene. This was something special. So he stayed quiet and let it unfold. Rosa took a deep breath, her hand still resting on Lily's shoulder. My daughter started playing piano when she was 4 years old. We lived in a different city then. My husband, Lily's father, he owned a restaurant. It was successful. We had a good life. Lily looked down at her shoes, knowing what was coming next. This was the part of the story that hurt. We could afford lessons for Lily. The best lessons. She had a teacher who had studied in Europe, who had played in symphony orchestras. And Lily was special from the very beginning. By the time she was 6, she was playing pieces that most teenagers couldn't manage. By 8, she had won 3 regional competitions and 1 national competition. The crowd murmured with recognition and impressed sounds. This made sense now. The skill they had witnessed wasn't random. It was the result of years of dedicated training. When Lily was 9, she was invited to audition for the youth conservatory in our city. It was incredibly prestigious. Only 30 students accepted each year from thousands of applicants. She auditioned and she got in. Full scholarship based on her talent. Rosa's voice got quieter. But 2 months before she was supposed to start, everything changed. My husband. He got sick. Very sick. Cancer. The woman in the cream suit put her hand over her mouth. Others in the crowd looked down, the mood shifting from excited curiosity to something more somber. The medical bills were overwhelming, Rosa continued. Even with insurance, it wasn't enough. We sold our house, sold our cars, sold everything we could, including Lily's piano. It was a beautiful instrument, a baby grand that my husband had saved for months to buy her as a surprise for her 7th birthday. Lily remembered that birthday, remembered the look on her father's face when he had led her, blindfolded, into their living room and revealed the piano. Remembered how he had cried happy tears when she played her first song on it. The memory made her chest ache. We moved here 6 months ago, Rosa said. After my husband passed away, we needed a fresh start, somewhere less expensive. I work at a restaurant downtown, and I clean offices 3 evenings a week. We live in a small apartment. There's no room for a piano, no money for lessons, no money for anything extra, really. The journalist, Rita, was still recording, but there were tears in her eyes now, too. So Lily hasn't been taking lessons? How has she maintained her skill? Rosa looked at her daughter with such pride and such sadness mixed together. Tell them, baby. Tell them how you practice. Lily's voice was barely above a whisper. I drew a piano. On poster board. All 88 keys. I got the measurements exact by looking at pictures online. I taped it to my desk in our bedroom. She could feel everyone staring at her, but she kept going. I practice on it every day. After school, I do my homework, then I practice for 2 hours. I watch videos on the library computers when I can, to learn new pieces. I memorize where my fingers should go, what the music should sound like. Then I play it on my paper piano, over and over until I know it perfectly. But you can't hear anything, someone in the crowd said, sounding stunned. You're just pressing paper. I hear it in my head, Lily explained. I know what each note should sound like. I remember from before, and I imagine it while my fingers move. Sometimes I hum along to help with the timing. The brand representative ran his hand through his hair, looking amazed. So when you sat down at this piano just now, that was the first time you've touched a real piano in almost 2 years, Rosa finished. Not since we sold hers. The silence that followed was heavy with emotion. People were processing what they had just learned. This girl had been practicing on paper for 2 years, keeping her skills sharp through nothing but memory, imagination, and pure determination. And then she had sat down at a real piano, in a crowded mall, surrounded by people who doubted her, and played one of the most difficult pieces in classical repertoire flawlessly. The businessman stepped forward. He was older, maybe in his 60s, with kind eyes behind wire-framed glasses. My name is Robert Chen. I'm a partner at an accounting firm downtown, but I also sit on the board of the City Arts Foundation. We provide funding for talented young artists who need financial support. He pulled out a business card and handed it to Rosa. I would like to help. The foundation would like to help. With lessons, with an instrument, with whatever Lily needs to continue developing her gift. Because what I just witnessed isn't just talent. It's dedication and passion that most people never have for anything in their entire lives. I'd like to help too, the woman in the cream suit said quickly. I'm Helen Park. I own 3 boutiques in the city. I can sponsor her, contribute to whatever she needs, please. Let me do something good after being so awful. Count me in, called out the businessman with the briefcase. I don't have connections to music organizations, but I can contribute financially. Others started chiming in. The college students pooling their money on the spot. Store employees offering what they could. Even the teenage boy who had been ready to mock her stepped forward, looking embarrassed but sincere. I'm sorry for trying to record you like that, he said, like it was going to be funny or something. But I did get it on video, the whole performance. And if you want, I could upload it. My brother runs a pretty popular social media page. Maybe it could help somehow. Rita, the journalist, was already typing rapidly on her phone. This is going to be my lead story tonight. Local girl, incredible talent, practicing on paper piano. People need to hear about this. The mall manager finally spoke up. The piano. The display piano. It's not meant to be given away, but I think I can talk to corporate. Maybe we could arrange something. Rosa was overwhelmed, tears flowing freely now. I don't. We can't accept charity. We're doing okay. We're managing. This isn't charity, Robert Chen said firmly. This is investment. Investment in extraordinary talent. Investment in a young person who has already proven she has the discipline and passion to succeed. The Arts Foundation exists specifically for situations like this. Please don't refuse. Lily tugged on her mother's sleeve. Mom, she said softly, I dream about it every night. About playing again. On a real piano. Rosa looked at her daughter's face. At the hope there. The longing. For 2 years she had watched Lily practice on that paper keyboard. Never complaining, never asking for anything. Just quietly, stubbornly keeping her gift alive through sheer will. Okay, Rosa whispered. Then louder. Okay, thank you. Thank you all so much. The crowd erupted in applause again, this time for a different reason. Not just for the beautiful music they had heard, but for being part of something good. Something that felt right in a world that often felt wrong. Rita was already planning her article in her head. She had been at the mall to buy a birthday present for her sister. Had almost left before the music started. But something had made her stay. And now she had the story of a lifetime. A story about talent and determination. About judging people by their appearance and being completely wrong. About a girl who practiced on paper and still managed to create beauty. The video went viral overnight. Not the slow, gradual kind of viral where something builds over days. The explosive kind where you wake up and suddenly the entire world seems to be talking about it. The teenage boy, true to his word, had uploaded the video to his brother's social media page. His brother Diego ran an account that shared inspiring stories and had about 50,000 followers. Nothing huge, but respectable. Diego had posted the video at around 8 that evening with a simple caption. She was ridiculed for touching the piano. Watch what happens next. By midnight, it had 100,000 views. By 6 in the morning, 2 million. By the time Lily woke up for school on Monday, the video had been viewed over 10 million times and was still climbing. Lily knew none of this when her alarm went off. She got ready for school the same way she always did. Toast with butter for breakfast because they could not afford much else. Her same worn jeans and a clean but faded shirt. Her backpack with the broken zipper that she had to be careful with. Her mother had gotten home late from her evening cleaning job and was still asleep. Lily left a note on the kitchen counter like always. Gone to school, love you. Don't forget to eat something. She walked to the bus stop the same way she did every morning, earbuds in, but no music playing because she could not afford a phone with a data plan. She just liked the feeling of the earbuds in her ears. It made the walk feel less lonely. But when she got to school, something was different. People were staring at her. Like really staring. Not the way they usually ignored her or looked past her like she was invisible. Actually seeing her, pointing, whispering to each other. Lily felt her stomach drop. Had someone found out about her dad? About their apartment? Sometimes kids could be cruel about that kind of thing. She kept her head down and hurried toward her locker. Oh my God, is that her? She heard someone say behind her, I think so. Same hoodie from the video. Video? Lily's heart started beating faster. What video? Her locker was surrounded by a group of girls from the popular crowd. Girls who had never spoken to her before. Girls who dressed in expensive clothes and had the newest phones and talked about vacations to places Lily had only seen in pictures. You're her, one of them practically shrieked. You're the piano girl. Lily stared at them, confused and a little frightened. One of the girls held out her phone. This is you, right? At the mall? Lily looked at the screen. And there she was, sitting at that white piano. The video had been edited to start with her reaching toward the keys while people laughed and made comments. Then it showed her sitting down, the crowd's mocking expressions. And then the music started. The video had captions added. They judged her by her clothes. They laughed at her. They thought she did not belong. And then as the music swelled, but she showed them what real talent looks like. That's me, Lily whispered. It has 15 million views, another girl said excitedly. Everyone is talking about it. You're famous, Lily felt dizzy. Famous? That could not be right. She was nobody. Just a girl who practiced on paper and tried to stay invisible at school. But more students were gathering now. Crowding around. Everyone wanted to talk to her, to tell her they had watched the video. Some of them had tears in their eyes. Others wanted autographs, which seemed ridiculous. She was not anyone special. Her math teacher had to actually intervene to clear the hallway so students could get to class. But even he looked at Lily differently. With respect. With wonder, Miss Martinez, he said quietly. The principal would like to see you before first period. Lily's stomach dropped again. Was she in trouble? Had she violated some rule by playing that piano? Were they going to expel her? But when she got to the principal's office, the principal was smiling. Actually smiling, which Lily had never seen before. The woman usually looked stressed and tired and vaguely annoyed by everything. Lily, please sit down, the principal said warmly. Don't look so worried. You're not in any trouble. Quite the opposite, actually. Lily sat in the chair across from the desk, her hands gripped tightly in her lap. I'm sure you've noticed by now that a video of you has been circulating online, the principal continued. It's garnered quite a bit of attention. I've been fielding calls since I arrived this morning. News stations wanting to interview you. The local symphony orchestra inviting you to perform with them. Even some national talk shows. Lily could not process the words. Talk shows? Symphony orchestra? This could not be real. There's also been an outpouring of financial support, the principal said, consulting her computer screen. The City Arts Foundation has set up a fund specifically for you. So far, it's raised over $100,000. Lily gasped. $100,000? That was more money than she could even imagine. That was more than her mom made in 3 years. That's not even the best part. The principal leaned forward, her eyes actually twinkling. The Conservatory of Music. The one you were accepted to before your family's circumstances changed. They've reached out. They want to offer you a full scholarship again, not just tuition, but housing assistance for your family, a stipend for living expenses, and access to practice rooms and instruments whenever you need them. Tears started flowing down Lily's cheeks before she could stop them. The conservatory. She had dreamed about it for so long. Had cried herself to sleep the night her mother told her they could not afford it, that they had to cancel. That dream had died along with her father, but now it was coming back to life. There's someone here who wants to meet you, the principal said gently. If you're comfortable with it. She opened the door to the conference room attached to her office. Inside sat an elderly woman with silver hair pulled back in an elegant bun. She wore a simple but expensive-looking dress and had the kind of posture that spoke of years of training. Lily, the woman, stood and walked toward her with both hands extended. My name is Catherine Wong. I was your father's piano teacher when he was a boy many years ago back in the Philippines. Lily's breath caught. Her father's teacher? She had heard stories about Miss Catherine, about how she had encouraged her father's love of music, even though his family could not afford formal lessons. About how she had taught him for free because she believed in his passion. Your father used to tell me about you in his letters. Catherine continued, taking Lily's hands in her own. Her hands were wrinkled but strong, the hands of someone who had played piano for decades. He was so proud of you, so incredibly proud. He would send me videos of your performances. I've been following your progress from afar. I didn't know, Lily managed to say through her tears. I lost touch with your family after he got sick. I was dealing with my own health issues, and by the time I recovered and tried to reach out, your mother had moved here. I couldn't find you. Catherine's eyes were misty too. But then yesterday my grandson showed me this video that was everywhere online, and I knew immediately. I recognized your father in the way you play. That same passion, that same heart. She reached into her bag and pulled out an old photograph. It showed a young man, barely a teenager, sitting at a piano. Lily recognized him instantly, even though she had never seen this picture before. Her father, at maybe 13 or 14, grinning at the camera with his hands on the keys. "I've been teaching in Hong Kong for the past 20 years, Catherine said. But I'm retiring now and moving back here to be closer to family. When I saw your video, I knew what I needed to do. I called the conservatory this morning. I told them I wanted to come out of retirement for one student." You, Lily, could not speak, could not process everything that was happening. "I want to teach you, Lily, the way I taught your father. I want to help you become the pianist you're meant to be. If you'll have me as your teacher." "Yes," Lily whispered. Then louder, "Yes, please, yes." Catherine pulled her into a hug and Lily felt something break open inside her chest. All the grief she had been holding on to, all the loss, all the fear that she would never play music the way she was meant to. It all came pouring out. "Your father would be so proud," Catherine whispered. "He is so proud. I know he is." The rest of the day passed in a blur. Rita, the journalist, came to the school to do a proper interview. The local news station sent a crew. More offers came pouring in. A piano company wanted to gift Lily a professional instrument. A tech company wanted to create an app based on her paper piano practice method to help other kids in similar situations. By the end of the day, when Lily finally got home, her mother was sitting at their tiny kitchen table surrounded by papers and her phone, which would not stop ringing. Mija Rosa looked up with tear-stained cheeks and the biggest smile Lily had ever seen. "Do you know what's happening? Do you understand?" Lily nodded, then shook her head, then laughed because she felt like her whole world had turned upside down in the best possible way. "Everything is changing," Rosa said. "Everything is going to be different now." That night, Lily looked at her paper piano taped to her desk. She ran her fingers over the drawn keys one last time, remembering all the hours she had spent here, all the pieces she had learned, all the dreams she had kept alive. She was going to keep it forever. Not as a reminder of hardship, but as a reminder of what determination could do, of what refusing to give up looked like. Tomorrow, a real piano would be delivered to their apartment. Tomorrow, she would start preparing for the conservatory. Tomorrow, everything would be different. But tonight, she practiced one more time on her paper keys, her fingers moving silently, the music playing perfectly in her head, right where it had lived for 2 long years.